If he took one of the grand officers aside, it was because he looked on him as a representative of some constituted body or of a class of individuals. Thus, Ségur, the Grand Master of the ceremonies, or Daru, the Intendant General, both belonging to that second class of the Institute, which represented the Académie Française, generally took this charge for the Academy. But they were not intended to take the very direct speeches of the emperor as addressed to them individually. The effect which he aimed at was attained so soon as he knew that what passed at the levee would be talked about in Paris. Except on such occasions, as far as regards those on duty, the levee consists rather in giving orders. Everything about it is military, in fact, cold and formal. No little stories are told, no good things are repeated, no familiarity slips in, no kind expressions find a place. They are in attendance to receive orders and a hint in their reports. It is for this purpose that Napoleon understands their attendance at the levees and expects them to be punctual. If anyone arrives late, it is necessary to be prepared with some happy excuse, such as that attributed to Ségur in 1809. It was impossible to get along the streets on account of the crowd of kings which I fell in with. Those on duty, having been dismissed with a slight bow, the chamberlain of the day introduced the grand entrees. Those who enjoyed this privilege were the princes of the imperial family and of the empire, cardinals, the great officers of the empire, the officers of the empress's household, princes and princesses, with the presidents of the great bodies of the state and the chief authorities of Paris. All these alighted at the bottom of the staircase of Flora, for their carriages entered the court of the palace, and they were almost the only carriages which did. They had been recognized on entry by the porter of the interior, Nivernais, passed up the stairs, and on the landing had been saluted with the halberd, according to their rank, by the porter of the apartment. They passed along the salle de garde, that hall which Fontaine and Percier had just decorated, in which on a ceiling of wonderful richness is depicted Mars in his war chariot. On their approach, the pages, out of respect to them, rise from their benches, which were formerly covered with a simple Utrecht velvet, but now with tapestry of the Savonnerie. Then the doors of the salon de service having been opened on their approach by an usher, they settled down there to wait the emperor's good pleasure. There was nothing to do but stand and exchange commonplaces, nothing even to please the eye, except the furniture, chairs, and folding stools, wood, gilt, covered with tapestry of Beauvais, with valances, also the same material, for tapestry also had its own degree of rank, Gobelin for the emperor, Beauvais for the household, Savonnerie for the pages. The whole decoration has remained the same as in the time of Louis XIV, with Maria Theresa painted by Decret under the guise of Minerva on the ceiling, and on the walls, great ugly landscapes which have become almost black. The general effect is depressing. There is but general little light in the apartments. It reminds one of the saying of Verdier to the first consul, "This is melancholy, General." "Yes," answered he, "like greatness." Everyone is in the costume of his station, the uniform of his rank, or of his office, wearing his orders in silk stockings and in shoes. The princes of the imperial family, who are also kings, appear in the costume of French princes. Cambyses does not fail to dress himself in the grand violet coat of Arch-Chancellor, Lebrun in the black coat of Arch-Treasurer, the Vice-Grand Elector Talleyrand, when he sets aside his scarlet coat, a great chamberlain wears a deep red coat. Each wears a sword at his side, the hilt and pommel of which are formed of an eagle with outstretched wings, while the pearl handle is grooved and surmounted with a knob formed of two lions' heads. Ministers, senators, deputies, tribunes, prefects, and generals wear blue coats, distinguished by the difference of the embroidery. The officers of the household of the empress and of the princes are in the costumes of varied colors assigned to the service to which they belong. It's a wonderful picture, which on certain occasions is rendered even more brilliant by the presence of the princes of the Confederation of the Rhine in the uniform of their troops. The grand entrees are summoned, and following the order of their rank, the chamberlain ushers the favored ones into the salon of the emperor. The 6 armchairs and the 12 chairs, of which of gilt wood, are covered with Gobelin's tapestry. The curtains and the portieres of the same manufacture, the furniture of gilt wood. The ceiling represents the triumph of Minerva always represented by Maria Theresa. A circle is formed. The emperor passes along and speaks to almost every one of the persons present, for he likes his levee to be numerous. He's not pleased when people stop away, and it is by their assiduity in attending this early ceremony that some of them succeed in escaping those suspicions which their conduct ought to arouse. Talleyrand, even in those days when he seems to be in the deepest disgrace, is first to arrive and the last to leave. The first shock is over, and he has been neither arrested nor shot. He returns, therefore, every morning. The emperor does not speak to him. People give him the cold shoulder and leave an empty space around him, but he remains, and obtruding his impassive countenance, waits, reckoning on the easy forgetfulness which Napoleon has for injuries, and he's justified in the end.